Now see, it's funny, and this happened a few times with me. Sometimes I'll plan on doing a video, and I'll be in one mood or one frame of mind. But then, for better or for worse, I'll listen to something or read something. It could be a comment in my comment section, somebody else's podcast, somebody else's live stream, something that an email follower sent me. Then it changes my mood somewhat. So, without getting lengthy, some videos I do that include me doing some variation of an angry rant don't initially start out that way. They don't initially start out that way. There's some videos I've done where I didn't initially plan on doing an angry rant up until maybe an hour or 2 hours before I recorded that video. But anyway, okay, I know most of y'all saying, Alan, okay, you got to be referring to something. What are you referring to? Two things got your boy, Alan Roger Currie, a little riled up before I start recording this video. Two things. One, I was listening to a live stream. I didn't hear the whole thing. I heard excerpts. And as you know, I did a video where that was a response to Tony Maceo from Mac City Limits, where he had made the comment that he felt like dating coaches were useless. And of course, I did a whole response video to that you can find on my YouTube channel. Well, just this morning, I heard a guy saying essentially the same thing. Now, I can't remember. I can't remember if it was the podcast host himself or one of his listeners and followers who said it. But he said that he didn't use those exact words, useless, but I think he said overrated. And he basically went on to say he don't understand why men pay for the services of dating coaches. Why are you worrying about what other motherfuckers do with their money? That's what I want to know. To the motherfuckers that keep taking jabs at my career. Why are you worried about what other people do with their money? Now, it's one thing if you yourself individually say, hey, I've examined what a lot of dating coaches have to offer, relationship advisors and coaches have to offer, and I just don't feel like their services are worth my money. Now, if you say that, I'm not going to have any criticism of you because you're talking about what's valuable to you, what's worth your money or not worth your money. I have no complaint with that. I have no criticism of that. But when you go beyond yourself and you start critiquing what products and services other people are spending their money on, then that's when I got a problem. Why the fuck you worried about how other people spend their money? Just worry about your motherfucking money. Worry about your money. Like, I've never paid for the services of a health and fitness trainer. But you would never hear me say that I think health and fitness trainers are useless or overrated. I used to work at a health club when I lived in Los Angeles. My last year in Los Angeles, I used to work for a health club called LA Fitness. Now, I wasn't a health and fitness trainer. I was actually in sales. I was in membership sales. But a lot of my friends at the club were health and fitness trainers. And see, it's funny, speaking of this, they used to get hated on a lot. Just like dating coaching as a career gets hated on a lot, back in the day, health and fitness trainers used to get hated on. I would say to a certain extent, they still get hated on. Yeah, because me and my friends at the health club, they used to talk about that all the time, man. A lot of guys would say, oh man, why you need to pay money for a health and fitness trainer? Can't you just exercise on your own? Why you need a health and fitness trainer? Why you need a personal nutritionist? Can't you just eat right on your own? Why you need to hire a personal chef? Like LeBron James, he has a personal chef and a personal nutritionist. A lot of professional athletes have those. Matter of fact, a lot of professional athletes have trainers. Now, you would think guys who are in shape like that would need a personal chef or a personal nutritionist or a trainer. Steph Curry has a trainer. Almost all NBA players and NFL players have personal trainers and personal nutritionists. But yet I've heard a lot of people hate on those careers. I know a lot of people be hating on those careers and be like, oh man, why you need a personal nutritionist or a personal chef? Why you need a personal trainer? Shit, for that matter, you might as well go ahead and hate on all coaches. Why do the Golden State Warriors need a coach on the bench? They know how to play basketball, don't they? Why you need a coach on the bench? They know the fundamental skills of basketball, dribbling, rebounding, playing defense. Why do you need a coach on the bench? Let alone a coach and 3 assistant coaches. Why do you need them on the bench? Why don't you just go ahead and get rid of them? Huh? Can't you work on your own car? Why you need an auto mechanic for? I know how to work on my own car. Do you? Why you need an auto mechanic for? For that matter, why don't you keep yourself healthy? Why you need to go to a doctor for? Why you need a doctor? Why you need a family physician for? Huh? You know, they got this thing now called DoorDash where they deliver your food. Can't you go pick up your own food? Don't you think DoorDash and Uber Eats is useless? How come your lazy ass can't go pick up your own motherfucking food? Why you need that shit for? Matter of fact, why you need an Uber driver for? Can't you get your own transportation? Why you need a fucking cab driver? They might as well be useless. Why you need a remote control? Can't you get up off your fucking couch and turn the TV? Huh? Why you need a remote control? Why are remote controls useless? Shut the fuck up. You stupid motherfuckers. You stupid, hating ass motherfuckers. Yeah, I'm telling you. Give me your phone number and I'll tell you directly if you want me to. You stupid motherfucker. And all you motherfuckers talking with y'all fake ass names. See this degree? You see that's my real birth certificate name on my Indiana University degree? Because I use my real motherfucking name, niggas. And I see y'all made me use the N-word. All these niggas talking shit on YouTube, but yet they using these fake names, these street names, these pseudonyms. Motherfucker, what's your real birth certificate name? What's the name on your high school diploma, motherfucker? Talking all this shit. Got motherfuckers, a lot of y'all, I'm gonna blame the people following these motherfuckers. Y'all listen to motherfuckers, y'all don't even know their real name. Y'all don't even know these motherfuckers' real name. You don't know what city they grew up in, don't know what high school they went to. All that shit's in my Wikipedia page. Gary, Indiana, baby. Proud of it. Gary, Indiana. It's my hometown. Wirt High School. Class of 1981. Motherfuckers know my biographical. Do they know yours? You creating this YouTube character that nobody know the fuck? For all people know, you could be an abuser of animals. How would anybody know? They don't know your fucking real name. You could be a convicted rapist, a convicted pedophile. How would anybody know? They don't know your real fucking name. You could be anything. You could be a petty grocery store thief. How would anybody know? They don't know your fucking real name. I know some of y'all like, damn, Alan started off the video going into rant mode. You damn right I am. Because I'm tired of all these motherfuckers talking shit, man. Just yik-yakky. I think dating coaches are overrated. I don't see why men need to pay. Nigga, what do you do? When you working at McDonald's, do people hate on your job? When you delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut, do people hate on you? I already been through this with Tony Maceo, man. I could go down a list of jobs that technically, I already pointed out one. The dude at the fucking car wash who goes like this. I don't need that motherfucker. I don't need that motherfucker guiding me into the damn car wash. Why do I need him? Why when I go to a nightclub and go to the bathroom, I got a motherfucker handing me a tissue, expecting me to give him $1 tip? I don't need that motherfucker, man. But hey, that's his hustle. So, hey, if he's making a living, God bless him. opposed to being broke, unemployed, and homeless, God bless them. That's why I try not to hate on people's jobs. Because I'm thankful that anybody is earning a living. I've been homeless before. I've admitted that on my YouTube channel. When I lived in Los Angeles, I was homeless 3 times. Not for long, thank God. Some people homeless for weeks, months, years. My longest I was homeless once for about 36 to 48 hours. I was homeless another time for about 24 to 36 hours. I was homeless another time for about 18 to 24 hours. I know how it feels to be homeless. I know how it feels to be broke. I'm thankful to be earning a living. A good living at that. So yeah, it irritates me when I hear people hating on my career. What are you contributing to society? That's what I want to know. All these people talking shit. What are you contributing to society that's worthwhile? That you got time to hate on my career. What are you contributing to society? What? What? Talk to me. I'm listening. What are you contributing to society? I got emails where people say I transformed their life. Me and my brother was just talking about this yesterday. He was talking about all the emails I've received over the last few years. People would say, Allie, man, you've totally changed my life. You've transformed my life. My life is totally different today because of you, Alan Roger Currie. Do you got emails like that? Huh? Do you got emails like that? Lengthy emails like that? Show them to me then. Or shut the fuck up. Your no credibility ass with your fake name, your fake street name. You ain't know who you are, nigga. Ooh, man, I was going to say something real below the belt, but I'm chill out right now. So that's one thing that got me irritated. And again, I wasn't even planning on going on this little, now it's like a 11, 12 minute rant. Second thing, speaking of hating on my career, now I got to bring up this brother's name. I ain't planning on bringing up his name again, but I'm going to bring up his name again. And it's not so much I got beef with this brother as much as his followers, man. I'm going to say it bluntly and publicly, man. A lot of guys who follow alpha male strategies, y'all are irritating as fuck. Y'all are irritating as fuck to me. And again, that's not really a direct jab at him because he don't control who follow him. But some of the guys who call themselves, maybe they're not even real followers of, maybe they just trolls pretending to be followers of his. But do you know every week I get at least 5 to 10 comments from guys who claim to be followers of AMS. Anyway, some guy wrote me and said, Alan, this relates to that video where I was responding to Tony Maceo. He said, Alan, you seem like you don't like people hating on you for being a dating coach, but aren't you being hypocritical because you be hating on alpha male strategies? I've heard you on your videos hating on alpha male strategy. So technically you're hating on somebody who is in your own profession. Really? Insert dog face here. I ain't never hated on alpha male strategies. Contrary to popular belief. I ain't never hated on that motherfucker. Well, I would say this. It depends on what you call, how you define hating on somebody. I have never hated on alpha male strategies as a dating coach. And if anybody says that, show me a quote where I did. If I was hating on him as a dating coach, you would hear me say something to the effect of, I don't believe alpha male strategy should be a dating coach. Or I think alpha male strategies is a poor, ineffective dating coach. That would be representative of me hating on him. I've never hated on alpha male strategies. For the millionth time, here are my only 2 issues that I've ever had with alpha male strategy. if I wanted to be nitpicky, I can name more issues. But if I had to narrow down to just 2 issues, it would be this. Number 1, I have just an ongoing philosophical disagreement with what he encourages and condones, which is lying to women and misleading and manipulating women, which is the basis for his sleazeball gang philosophy. Sleazeball gang philosophy. That's what a sleazeball is a liar and a manipulator. Now, I had some guys say, well, Alan, you must don't keep up with Alpha Male Strategy's recent videos, because recently he don't really tell guys to lie to women no more, and he don't really tell guys to mislead and manipulate women no more. He actually promotes a high degree of honesty. Well, yeah, I've heard a few guys say supposedly in the last 3, 4, 5 months he's been slowly but surely changing his tune. If that's true, more power to him. But the fact remains that ain't how he started out. And everybody who's been keeping up with him since the beginning of his career know that's how. Now, I can't speak for what he's been encouraging and condoning the last 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But I know for a fact, matter of fact, somebody just sent me on Twitter last week. Somebody sent me a tweet of one of his old videos where he specifically said, I'm all about getting pussy any way I can. If that means lying to women, manipulating them, toying with their emotions, I don't give a fuck. I'm all about getting pussy. He said that specifically on a video from the early part of 2018 when he first became a dating coach. And that's how he was pretty much most of 2018. Again, I can't speak for how he's been in 2019. But I know for a fact, for the vast majority of 2018, Alpha Male Strategy is all about telling men to lie to women and do whatever they can to get in their pants. And I have a philosophical disagreement with that. That doesn't mean I don't think he should be a dating coach, though. I've never said because of that he shouldn't be a dating coach. I just make the point that I philosophically disagree with that stance. So that's my number 1 issue. But I've had that with a lot of dating coaches and pickup artists. So he ain't the only one. Like, more notable than him would be this guy named Yad, who's a indirect dating pickup artist / dating coach from London. He's the same way. He believes in basically bullshitting women and manipulating women to get them in bed. I used to go after Yad all the time. I've probably, in my history, I've gone after Yad probably 3 times as much as I've gone after Alpha Male Strategies, if not more so. So in terms of, under the category of philosophical disagreements, there's a lot of PUAs and dating coaches I've gone after. But that's, to me, I distinguish that from hating. That's not hating. I don't consider having a philosophical disagreement with somebody as hating. I'm never going as far as to say Alpha Male Strategy should resign as a dating coach or he should retire as a dating coach. I've never said that. I actually did one video where I encouraged people to buy his book. So how could I be hating on him if I actually was encouraged? I did one video, I can't remember the title of the video, but I actually did a video where I was encouraging people to buy Alpha Male Strategy's book. Now, of course, part of it was self-serving because I first said, buy my books first. So that was the first thing I said. I said, I want you to buy my books first and then go ahead and buy Alpha Male Strategy's book and see what you think. And I basically said, if you read his book and you find that his advice resonates with you more than the contents of my 4 books, then I actually said, I said, go ahead and follow Alpha Male Strategy said. I actually said that on the video. I said, if you feel after reading my books or listening to my 4 audiobooks, and then you listen to Alpha Male Strategy's audiobook and you find that his advice resonates with you more than the contents and advice contained in my book, I said, go ahead and follow him. I say that with any dating coach. I always tell people that. That's one thing I can say for myself as a dating coach. I rarely, if ever, have told somebody, don't follow this person or don't read their book. The only exception, and I've pointed this out before, the only time I've had an exception to that is if I find out that a dating coach or pickup artist is promoting something along the lines of rape, date rape, sexual assault, getting women sloppy drunk and then taking advantage of them, or putting drugs in their food or drinks and then taking advantage. If any pickup artist or dating coach promotes something like that, then yeah, that's when I will tell you specifically, don't follow that person. Don't follow that person. Yeah, anything that's related to rape, date rape, sexual assault, or something of that nature, I'll never co-sign with that shit. But other than that, I rarely, if ever, will tell guys who listen to me, don't read this guy's book. I always want guys to read other people's book in addition to my books. Most of the time, more often than not, I encourage people to read other people's ebooks, other people's paperbacks, or listen to other people's audiobooks, assuming they have one. Now, the reality is, some dating coaches don't even have that shit. I talked about that in a recent video. You got some people who promote themselves as a dating coach. They don't have not one ebook. They don't have not one paperback. They don't have not one audiobook. So my question is, how the fuck are they even promoting themselves as a dating coach? And you ain't got no book to fall back on. That's problematic in itself. Matter of fact, Alpha Male Strategy started out that way. Now he has a book. Matter of fact, I already got 2 books now. I already got a second book that deals with money and financial management and that type of shit. It ain't got nothing to do with dating. It's about money. But when Alpha Male Strategy first started out, he didn't have shit as far as books are concerned. He didn't have no ebook. He didn't have no paperback. He didn't have no audiobook. Now he does, but he didn't when he started out. See, I didn't go that route, man. I see a lot of guys do this. They'll market themselves as a dating coach first, and then they'll come out with a book. See, I did just the opposite, which to me is the right way to do it. I came out with my books first, then I promoted myself as a dating coach, not vice versa. I came out with my first ebook in May of 1999. My first Mo 1 ebook came out in May of 1999, and then the paperback version came out in late February, early March of 2006, and then the audiobook version came out in August of 2014. Now, I came out with my book first, then I marketed myself as a dating coach, which technically is what you're supposed to do. If you're any type of self-help guru, I told you, and this is not just my opinion, if there's at least one other person who said this, was Tony Robbins. That's what Tony Robbins said. He said, you should never be marketing yourself as a self-help guru if you ain't got no book. He said, you're supposed to come out with a book first, then market yourself as a self-help guru. Not market yourself as a self-help guru and then come out with a book. So anyway, going back to AMS for a second, that's the first issue I've had with him. I just had a philosophical disagreement with his whole sleazeball gang philosophy. The second major issue I had, was provoked me to bring up his name a lot. Speaking of my books, he be biting off a lot of my shit, man. Everybody know it. I mean, it's like commonplace now. Do you know in the last, I'd say roughly 7 to 8 months, I would say starting with October of last year, that's when I would say roughly first started. Starting with October of last year up until now, I've had somewhere between 40 to 50 guys. 40 to 50 guys, which compared to the number of people who follow AMS, that's a drop in the bucket. That ain't many. But that's still, to me, a significant number of guys. I've had no less than 40 and as many as 50 plus guys that were initially following AMS until they got my book, The Possibility of Sex. And then they wrote me, or we did a Skype consultation. They was like, Alan, man, I don't know if you know, bro, but do you know when it comes to the talking point about valuing your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, and not giving women free access to your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, and basically just that whole notion of making women work for your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. Do you know, before I got your book, The Possibility of Sex, I thought AMS was the originator of that talking point? Man, I've had at least 40 to 50 plus guys that have told me that before they became familiar with my book, they thought AMS was the originator of that talking point. But because he was stealing all my time. Now, I always like to give him partial credit. Now, in 2018, a lot of guys would say, Alan, I've actually heard AMS encourage people to buy at least 2 of your books. He would encourage guys to buy your book, The Possibility of Sex and the Beta Male Revolution. I never heard him encourage guys to buy Mode 1. I never heard him encourage guys to buy Who Said Again. But I've heard AMS encourage guys to buy The Possibility of Sex and the Beta Male Revolution. I've heard him myself endorse the Beta Male Revolution. I don't know if I've heard him directly endorse The Possibility of Sex, but he did a whole video in the early part of 2018 where he endorsed the Beta Male Revolution. So I know that for a fact. I know for a fact he did endorse the Beta Male Revolution. And I heard from guys last year that he also endorsed The Possibility of Sex. I haven't heard that so much this year, in 2019. I heard that in 2018. I haven't heard that in 2019. But that's the second biggest issue I have with him is that he'd be repeating, regurgitating, and in many ways verbally plagiarizing a lot of my material from my book, The Possibility of Sex. So yeah, that's the only 2 issues I've ever really had with AMS. And if you want to categorize those 2 issues as representative of haterade, then so be it. But I don't consider that haterade. Yeah, I just had a philosophical disagreement with him about the whole lying to women thing to get them in bed and manipulating women to get them in bed. And secondly, I want anybody who repeats, regurgitates, and or verbally plagiarizes my shit to give me my proper credit attribution. I ain't looking for money from these guys. I just want people to give me my what's known as proper credit attribution. That's what you're supposed to do. When you borrow an established book author's talking points, his terminology, his philosophy, his phrases, his slogans and shit, the minimum thing you're supposed to do is give him proper credit attribution. Otherwise, you're guilty of plagiarism. If you're basically talking about stuff I talk about in my books and on my videos, but you're not mentioning my name, then you're plagiarizing me, which is illegal. And the fact of the matter is, when it comes to this whole talking point about valuing your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, there's a lot of motherfuckers on YouTube who copying my shit. And I'm going to just lay it out there. I ain't going to hold no punches. I was the first motherfucker in the manosphere to have that talking point. And I dare anybody to say that they was talking about that shit before me. I dare you to. I dare you to. You know me, I'm going to say the triple dare. I triple dare you to. I triple dare any motherfucker. White, black, Asian, Hispanic. I dare any motherfucker in the manosphere to say that they had the talking point of valuing your non-sexual time, attention, companionship before this brother you listening to right here. I dare you to. If you try to tell me that you were, first thing I'm going to say, show me your book. Show me your book. If you can't show me your book, shut the fuck up. Peace. If you try to say you talked about it on an audio podcast or an internet radio episode, I'm going to say show it to me so I can see the date of it. Because I was talking about this shit on Blog Talk Radio between 2007 and 2016. Show me your audio podcast. Show me your video podcast. I want to see the specific date on it. If you want to claim you was talking about this shit before me. Wasn't nobody in the manosphere talking about the specific talking point of valuing your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship before this brother right here. Nigga, I was talking about that shit as far back as 1988. Yes, let me repeat that. I first came up with the philosophy of no free attention back in summer of 1988. It's in my book. If you read Possibility of Sex, actually, speaking of proper credit attribution, I'm going to give proper credit attribution. I actually didn't come up with that phrase, no free attention. So let me be honest in that, saying that. I didn't come up with that phrase. I was the one who popularized it, but I did not. It was actually a coworker of mine that I worked with in downtown Chicago in 1988. His name was Anthony. Kind of looked like he could be Eddie Murphy's first cousin. Yeah, a guy named Anthony. And I explained that. That's all in my book, The Possibility of Sex. And so by me mentioning his name in the book, I gave him his proper credit attribution. But yeah. But as far as starting with the advent of the internet and for what's now known as the manosphere, I would say I was the originator of that talking point, starting with the advent of the internet and the advent of the manosphere. I was the originator of that talking point. The no free attention and valuing, placing high value on your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. And I was the one who specifically correlated it with my manipulative time wasters. Now, that's my original thing. That had nothing to do with Anthony. Anthony had nothing to do with my 5 archetypes. I came with those 5 archetypes on my own. Reciprocator, rejector, wholesome pretender, erotic hypocrite, and manipulative time waster. But yeah, there wasn't nobody in this manosphere space on either in book form, audio podcast form, internet radio form, or video podcast form that was talking about that before me. If you think they were, list their name in my comment section. List their name and give me documented proof. List the name of that book and what year that book was copyrighted. If it's an audio podcast or internet radio episode, give me the link so I can see what date is attached to it. Or if it's a video podcast, show me the date. Send me the link so I can see the date of when they was talking about putting value in your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. I'm telling you, wasn't nobody talking about that before me. Wasn't nobody talking about that shit before me. As I've said before, when I first hit the scene in the manosphere, what's now known as the manosphere, the number one thing most people were talking about was simply how to get laid. That was the only thing really people were talking about, was simply how to get laid. And more specifically, how to get laid without being a woman's husband, fiance, or boyfriend. That was the main talking point in the manosphere when I first got into the manosphere, was mainly stuff related to simply how to get laid, and specifically how to get laid without being a woman's husband, fiance, or long-term boyfriend. That was the main talking point when I first got into the manosphere. Other than that, people weren't talking about shit. Like sexual duplicity, wasn't really nobody talking about sexual duplicity. Social programming, wasn't nobody talking about that shit. Even talking dirty. I was the first main person to really talk about talking dirty to women, man. Wasn't nobody really talking about that. There were some guys that would talk about how to talk dirty to a woman while you were in bed fucking her. But as far as talking about talking dirty to a woman in the very first conversation, like me, wasn't nobody talking about that before me. And again, if you think somebody was, tell me about their book. Tell me about their audio podcast or internet radio episode, or tell me about their video podcast with dates attached to them. Or shut the fuck up. Now, speaking of no free attention, I had a bunch of people in the last 2 to 3 days send me this article that the New York Post wrote, basically confirming what I already knew for 20 plus years, 30 plus years. The article came out saying that at least 1/3 of women only go out on dates with women to get free food. Come on, man. I mean, it's nice that the New York Post wrote that article, but I mean, come on, man. For a brother like me who's 56 years old, dude, I figured that shit out by the time I was in my early to mid 20s. You're talking about back in the 1980s. All the shit that article talked about, I knew all that shit back in the 1980s, bro. Again, a lot of the stuff, see, that's what's funny to me being an older brother like myself. A lot of the stuff that younger guys talk about on YouTube and talk about it like it's a fairly new thing, a fairly new concept. Well, in respect to them, it probably is. If you like 21 years old or 25 years old, 29 years old, even 35 years old, a lot of stuff you're just learning about women's true nature. So it's going to seem new to you. But again, since I'm 56 years old, man, a lot of stuff that younger guys are just figuring out about women, I figured out back in the 80s, man. Some stuff as far back as my senior in high school, which would have been the 1980-1981 school year. Yeah, that's when I first officially learned about sexual duplicity, was back in my senior in high school, because I used to have women who had boyfriends used to throw pussy at me. And I had girls who had long-term boyfriends. They used to just throw pussy at me, hand it to me on a silver platter. That's when I first realized how sexually duplicitous women were. And then after that was the summer after my senior in high school when I watched Talk Dirty to Me. That solidified my knowledge of the concept of sexual duplicity. But yeah, man, a lot of shit that guys be talking about, and they'll sometimes say it to me like I don't know, or like I just learned about this shit 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And I don't want to be mean to these young guys, but I'm like, motherfucking, y'all talking to me about shit that I've known about, man, since I was in my 20s, man, since the 80s, man, before y'all motherfuckers was even born. I knew about manipulative time wasters before a lot of you motherfuckers was born. I knew about sexually duplicitous women before a lot of you guys were even born. I knew about red pill shit before it was even called red pill. I knew about the difference between a blue pill and a red pill mindset before it even, they start labeling that red pill. Like my term for what people now call red pill knowledge and wisdom, I used to simply call in the know. That was my main nickname for that. If I talked to a guy and I felt like he had a very enlightened and realistic view on women and their behavior and their true sexual nature and their true manipulative and materialistic nature, I would simply say, oh, so you in the know. That would be my thing. I would say, oh, so you in the know. That's what I would call it. I would say, oh, this, like if I was talking to somebody else, I'd say, oh, this, you need to be my brother right here, Ralph. His name is Ralph, man. He in the know. He know what's up. He in the know. That was my way of saying Ralph is red pill. That's what I would say instead of saying red pill, blue pill. I would say this guy's in the know. Or if you were blue pill, I would just simply call you naive. I would say, oh, that dude's naive. He's still wet behind the ears. He's still wet behind the ears. He's naive. So that was my old school terms for what they now call red pill versus blue pill. I would either say, if you were red pill, I would say you were in the know or you know what's up. Or if you were blue pill, I would say he's naive or he's still wet behind the ears. Speaking of red pill, I had some guys over the weekend watch my last video, and they said, Alan, not too many guys, I think it was 2 guys, no more than 3 guys asked me, they said, Alan, don't you think being married and or having children is antithetical to being red pill? Don't you think that if you believe in marriage or believe in having children, that means you ain't truly red pill? That means you're either blue pill or at minimum you're purple pill? How can you be red pill and still believe in marriage or the idea of having children? That ain't quite dog face worthy, so I'm going to spare you the dog face for that question. But no, you don't know. I know a few people that are red pill that are married. I can name 2 people just off the top of my head who I would generally consider red pill that are married and have children. Rollo Tomasi. Matter of fact, Rollo Tomasi is considered. Damn, I thought I turned shit on. Rollo Tomassi is considered the godfather of the red pill community, even though a lot of people debate that. Like I saw somebody recently say, no, I think Tom Likas is the godfather of red pill knowledge, wisdom, insight, and advice. Shit, I disagree with both of them. Shit. Because truthfully, I had a good share of red pill knowledge, wisdom, and insight before I ever heard of both Tom Likas and Rollo Tomassi. So shit, you could argue that shit. I'm the motherfucking godfather of red pill, even though most people already gave me one godfather name. I'm considered, a lot of people in the manosphere call me the godfather of direct verbal game, which I gladly accept that title. But yeah, I knew about what's known as red pill knowledge before I ever heard of Tom Likas or Rollo. Again, man, I would say I was red pill back in the 80s. In the mid to late 80s was when I first became red, what people now call red pill. I would say technically as early as 1980, 81. That's when I was at least on the tip of the iceberg of becoming red pill. And I would say by no later than roughly 84, 85, 86, I was red pill. And that was way before I heard it. But anyway, that's another segue. But anyway, I was on the subject of people who are considered red pill that are married. Rollo Tomassi is married and got a daughter. And his nickname is the godfather of the red pill community. Stevie D. Williams, my fellow dating coach. Stevie D. Williams, he's been married since 1999, 20 years. He got like 4 kids. Yeah, he got 4 kids. No, he got 5. Yeah, because he has a daughter from a previous marriage because he's been married twice. He got 1 daughter from a previous marriage, and then he got 4 kids, 2 sons and 2 daughters from his current wife. And he's shit. I dare anybody to say Stevie D. Williams is blue pill. He's definitely not blue pill. For damn sure. And I would say for the most part, he ain't purple pill. I've never heard Stevie D. Williams give what most people call purple pill advice. I ain't never heard him give purple pill advice. He's very realistic about the concept of marriage and raising kids. So you could be, I would even throw my brother in there. My brother, at minimum, I would say my brother is on the borderline between red pill and purple pill. If he's not full-fledged red pill, I would say he's on the borderline between being red pill and purple pill. Again, purple pill is when you have a lot of red pill knowledge, wisdom, and insight, but you tend to publicly promote stuff that could be considered blue pill advice. That would make you purple pill. Yeah, my brother, I would say at minimum, he's on the borderline between being red pill and purple pill. He is a little bit purple pill because he don't really believe in casual sex. He believes all guys should settle down with a wife at some point. Like he doesn't like the fact that I'm still out here just fucking. His ideal situation would be for me to find a wife and get married and settle down. So in that way, some people can argue that, he's a little bit lightheartedly purple pill. Yeah, he don't like to see guys going well into their 40s and 50s and 60s just straight up fucking without getting married at least once. But no, Stevie D. Williams, yeah, man, he's red pill and he's married and got 5 kids. So I disagree with people who say that, man. You can be red pill and be married. Just because you're married doesn't mean you automatically become naive or unrealistic or idealistic. Shit, you think Hugh Hefner was blue pill? That motherfucker was married like 3 times. Tom Likas is as red pill as they come. That motherfucker was married like 2 or 3 times. He's since divorced each of his wives, but still he was married. So how can you say that somebody, because they're choose to get married or choose to have children, that makes them either blue pill or at minimum purple pill. I disagree with that, man. I totally disagree with that. No, that's bullshit. So I'm going to end it here, the free portion. Oh, and somebody asked me, they said, Alan, I thought you were going to do short videos, like anywhere from 15 to 19 minutes, but I noticed your last 2 to 3 videos were long videos. Well, one of the reasons why I've been doing longer free portion videos is because I don't really plan on doing a video like every day or every other day. Like, for example, if I planned on doing, say, 5 videos this week, then yeah, each of them would be roughly about 15 to 19 minutes. But because I don't plan on doing a video every day or every other day for probably the next 5 or 6 weeks, because I know I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling and doing this and that. If I know I'm only going to be doing, like, say, 1 or 2 videos a week, that's why I'm allowing them to be longer. So that's the reason why they're longer. It's because, like, this week, I plan on only doing probably, like, 2 videos this week. Yeah, after this video, I'm only do, like, 1 other video this week. So, like, if I was planning on doing, like, 3 or 4 more videos this week, then they would each be shorter. But, yeah, I'm probably only going to do 1 other video after this week. And definitely in July, like in July, there's going to be at least probably 2 weeks where you might not see a video from me at all. I might go as long as like 5 to 7 days without doing a video, particularly a free video. I might do a Patreon exclusive video that I just directly upload to my Patreon page. But as far as a free video, yeah, in the month of July, I can guarantee you there's going to be at least 1 or 2 weeks in July. I'm not going to be doing any videos because I'm going to be traveling and shit. But anyway, I'm going to talk about a couple things in my Patreon exclusive portion for this video, so join me there. Okay, what I want to briefly talk about in my Patreon exclusive portion, I don't think I have too many followers, supporters, and clients who get this impression from me, but in case they do, I want to make something very, very clear. A lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, that's a misnomer. I'm not going to say a lot. There's at least a small percentage of guys, based on feedback I received, not only just recently, but over the last couple of years. A lot of people are under this impression that being Mo 1 is synonymous with being anti-marriage and anti-long-term relationship. And that's simply not true. And I think most of my followers, supporters, and clients already know this. Because believe it or not, I've had clients who have gotten married because of Mo 1. Like I've had, I want to say at least 2 of my former one-on-one face-to-face coaching session clients that actually got married within 2 years or less after they did a one-on-one face-to-face coaching session with me. So that just shows you right there that Mo 1 advice is not about avoiding marriage and avoiding long-term romantic relationships with women. And again, I think the vast majority of my listeners, followers, supporters, and clients know this, but I'm saying roughly the last 2 years and most recently over this past weekend, I had at least a handful of guys write me comments like, well, Alan, when you say Mo 1 and MGTOW are the same thing? No. No, the simple answer is no. I don't know where people are getting that from. Being Mo 1 and being MGTOW are not one and the same. No, 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 no. Who's ever spreading that false rumor needs to stop. But yeah, I've had a few guys over the last couple of years that were under this impression or assumption that being Mo 1 and being a self-proclaimed MGTOW subscriber were essentially the same thing. No, they're not. No, they're not. Like my brother, you'll take my older brother, for example. My brother credits Mo 1 for helping him find his wife. Yeah, if you would ask my older brother, he'll tell you. Mo 1 helped my brother hook up with his wife. My brother is anything but MGTOW. And I've always found it funny because The first book that caused a lot of MGTOW guys to come my way was The Possibility of Sex. Like when I came out with Mo 1, particularly the paperback version, I didn't really attract that many MGTOW subscribers, philosophy followers. When I came out with Who Said Again, I definitely didn't attract any MGTOW guys. A lot of MGTOW guys have actually criticized that book. But I noticed when I came out with The Possibility of Sex and later The Beta Male Revolution, all of a sudden I had a lot of MGTOW guys following me. I had a lot of self-proclaimed MGTOW guys following me. Where's my, excuse me. But no, Mo 1 is not about, and see, this is when I actually get angry at a lot of women, because a lot of women, typically it's been women who didn't even take the time to read my book or listen to my audiobook. They'll tell their girlfriends, I've had situations where women will tell their girlfriends, Mo 1 is all about casuals. Oh, y'all making me think of a story. Y'all making me think of a story. You know I love to tell stories. If you pay attention to YouTube, one of my first interviews ever about Mo 1, it's still up on YouTube if I'm not mistaken, was by a good friend of mine. He grew up in Northwest Indiana just like I did. And he's pretty well known in the Chicagoland region because he was kind of a media personality. He used to have a show on PBS. And he used to have a real popular broadcast radio show on a popular radio station in Chicago. His name is Gerard McClendon. Gerard McClendon. And he did one of the first, if not the first, YouTube interview of me about Mo 1. And so I hope you don't mind me telling this. Well, technically, I've already told this story publicly, so this won't be my first time. Because I told this story at least twice, I want to say, when I was on Blog Talk Radio. But as you know, I used to work at a university. A university called Indiana University Northwest that's located in Gary, Indiana. I worked there from, February of 2008 until June of 2012. And speaking of that, now I've heard people, you heard me earlier in this video criticize that people don't use their real names. And one thing I've heard some people say, they say, well, Alan, you got to understand, a lot of people got real 9-to-5 jobs and they don't want their real jobs to be negatively affected by using their real name. Shit. When I had my job at the university, I was still using my real name. So other people might try to use that as an excuse, but I still use my real name. When I did my Blog Talk Radio show, I was working at the university. I was using my real name. When I did my show called The Erotic Conversationalist, which was very X-rated, I was using my real name. Yeah. My books were all in my real name while I was working at a university. So I'm sorry, man. I can't buy into that excuse, man. I've always, ever since I've been on the scene, man, I've used my real birth certificate name, man. But anyway, going back to the story, Gerard McClendon, he was working at another university in Northwest Indiana. And we were both part of this program that involved mentoring young black men and young Hispanic men. And so we wanted to collaborate on some ideas. And so I met up with him at his college, at his university. And he had this boss. She was a piece of work. Let's call her Mrs. Dr. Robinson, because she had a PhD. So she was a doctor. Let's call her Dr. Robinson. And she was his boss. So me and Gerard went in his office, and we were talking. And she came in to tell Gerard something. And then she saw me. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. McClendon. I didn't know you had a guest." And Gerard, who's also got a PhD, he's Dr. McClendon. He was like, "Yeah, this is my good friend Alan." Alan Roger Currie. And she said, Alan Roger Currie. Wait a minute. I know that name. I know that name. And then Gerard said, oh, I know how you probably know her name, because he had this other coworker. I don't know her name. I can't remember her name. Let's call her Tanya. Tanya was his coworker who actually had a crush on me. And she had watched Gerard's video interview of me. So, yeah, I guess she had shown the video to some of her coworkers and colleagues. And so anyway, Gerard said, Dr. Robinson, you might be familiar with Alan, because from Tanya's video, the interview I did with Alan, that Tanya was showing some of the ladies in the office. And she said, yes. And then she gives me this lighthearted frown, like, so you're that guy. And I said, thanks for the love, Dr. Robinson. She said, oh, you lucky I'm busy right now. And I said, then why is that? She said, because if I wasn't busy, I would shred you to pieces. And you know I got an ego. And anybody start talking about trying to shred me to pieces, oh, I'm like, come on, bring that shit. So I said, no, you ain't that busy. I said, I'm always up for a debate. She said, is that right? She said, then she looked at Gerard. She said, Gerard, will you warn him? And to my surprise, Gerard actually kind of leaned on her side. He's like, Alan, you're my boy, but I gotta give it to Dr. Robinson. She's thorough. She rarely, if ever, loses a debate. I said, I ain't never lost a debate related to Mo 1. I said, I guarantee you that. I've lost some debates in my life, but as far as a debate related to one or more of my books, I've never, ever, ever, and I will say that emphatically, I have never lost a debate related to the contents of one or more of my books. Ever. Anybody telling you they've ever got the best of me in a debate related to my books, they a lying motherfucker. Ain't nobody ever bested me in a debate related to my books. Now, if somebody debated me about something that wasn't directly related to my books, they might have got the best of me. But as far as something to do with my books, ain't nobody ever bested me in a debate. Ever. So quote me on that. Ain't nobody ever bested me in a debate about something to do with the contents of my books. And so I was basically told this doctor, I said, bring it. And she said, okay, I'm going to make time just so I can get the egotistical satisfaction of shredding you to pieces. I said, okay. So she left out. And then Gerard Gerard, my boy. I got love for Gerard, but Gerard, he knows this. I told him, so it ain't like I'm talking about him behind his back. But he kind of disappointed me because he was actually start warning me. He said, hey, man, I don't know if you want to fuck with her, man. Like, she's real thorough. I've seen her in debates. I've seen her in action. Man, she does not lose debates. I told Gerard, just like I just got finished telling you guys. I said, man, I ain't never lost a debate related to my book. I said, now, if we was debating on something, just a general subject, she might get the best of me. But I said, when it comes to debating me on the contents of my book, I said, ain't nobody ever defeated me in a debate related to my book, ever. And so he said, okay, I wish you good luck, my brother. We shook on it. So she comes back into the room, this time with two cheerleaders. She had the woman I mentioned that I'll call Tanya, not her real name. Tanya, the one who was showing women in the office the video interview that Gerard had with me. And she had some other chick that I didn't know. And she said, okay, Mr. Currie, you ready to be shredded to pieces? I said, bring it. She said, where do I start? She said, first of all, she said, here would be my first two things right off the bat. She said, your book promotes crass, socially inappropriate language. And she said, your book encourages men to pursue short-term, non-monogamous sex instead of more long-term, emotionally profound, meaningful relationships. Right then, I knew I had her. And most of you all should be listening to me and be like, oh, Alan, you got her right there. Right there, I knew I had her. And this woman was talking about shredding me to pieces. Right then, I knew I had this bitch. And I hate to call her bitch, but right then, I knew I had her. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I probably wouldn't have called her bitch to her face because she was married to some guy. Gerard told me she was married to some guy who used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm assuming he was some big, heavy-duty looking motherfucker. But shit, I'm gonna still speak my mind. But right there, I knew I had her, man. I knew I had her. I just went like this. I said, really? I said, that's your first two criticisms, all one. She said, yes. And then two women behind it was nodding heads like, yeah, see, that's messed up. Then I looked at Gerard. I said, Gerard, wasn't she talking about shred me to pieces? And Gerard nodded his head. I said, that's sad to say, because now I'm about to shred her to pieces. And she looked at me like, oh, really? And of course, I don't want to go blow by blow because it'll take too long. But essentially, I told her, I said, you're wrong on both points. I said, number one, I know just by you bringing up those 2 points, you haven't thoroughly read my book. Have you, Dr. Robinson? And sure enough, that was the first time she stuttered. She started stuttering. She said, well. I said, you work in academia. Don't try to BS me. I said, be honest. You did not thoroughly read my book, did you? You going by what you heard. You either did one or two things. You either going by what you heard from somebody, probably Tanya, or you browsed through the book, but you didn't read it. And then she said, touche. She said, yeah, I'm going by what I heard. I said, now, how much respect am I supposed to have for you? You're the chairman of a department. English department, no doubt. And you're offering a critique on a book that you've never read. How can you even look yourself in the mirror knowing that? Oh, I came in hard. And sure enough, she started looking at the ground. That was the first time she did that. She actually looked at the ground. She didn't know what to say. I said, how can I have respect for you as Dr. McClendon's superior and the dean of the English department, but yet you offering a critique of my book, offering criticism of my book, and you let me know by your two criticisms that you ain't even read my book. I said, because anybody knows who read my book, using profanity and or X-rated language is not a mandatory requirement for being Mode 1. And I've said that for like over 20 years. Matter of fact, all of y'all by now know I got 4 versions of Mode 1. Mode 0, Mode 1 Hardcore, regular Mode 1, and Mode 1.5. And that's what Mode 1.5 is about. That's what my brother used to use a lot. Matter of fact, he's the one who came up with that term, Mode 1.5. Yeah, Mode 1.5 is when you're Mode 1 with women, but you don't use any profanity and you don't use any R-rated, X-rated, or triple X-rated language. But you're still upfront, specific, and straightforward with women about the fact that you want to share their company in a romantic or strictly sexual manner. So that's the first thing I told her. I said, you don't have to use R-rated, X-rated, or triple X-rated language in order to call yourself Mode 1. I said, now I do. That's more of an Alan Roger Currie thing than a Mode 1 thing. I said, now just about all the times I'm Mode 1, I use a lot of profanity and R-rated and X-rated and triple X-rated language. But I said, that's more of an Alan Roger Currie thing. But I told her about my brother. I said, like my brother, when he uses Mode 1, he doesn't really use any profanity or any R-rated, X-rated, or triple X-rated language. So to that, she was just basically like, touche. Then the second thing, which is what made me think of this story, was she tried to say that Mode 1 was all about specifically endorsing short-term non-monogamous casual sex. I said, no, it's not. I said, it might appear that way based on some comments I make and other people make about Mode 1. I can understand why a lot of people would be under the mistaken impression that that's what Mode 1 is about. But I said, that's not what it's about. I said, now I do have a version called Mode 1 Hardcore, which most of you all, of course, know about. I said, now that particular version of Mode 1 is about the pursuit of short-term non-monogamous casual sex. is my version called Mo 1 Hardcore. That's specifically catered to the pursuit of short-term non-monogamous casual sex. But I said regular Mo 1 can be used for the pursuit of a long-term monogamous romantic relationship. Excuse me. It can be used for the pursuit of a long-term non-monogamous relationship, otherwise known as a polyamorous relationship. It can be used for the pursuit of a short-term monogamous relationship, otherwise known as serial monogamy. Or it can be used for short-term non-monogamous casual sex. I said, so it has 4 uses. I know I'm not 100% over my cold because I keep coughing. But, yeah, man. So right there, I said, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, here's one of the reasons why it seems like Mo 1 is more conducive to the pursuit of short-term non-monogamous casual sex is because I said, being honest, most men have a greater fear of being upfront, specific, and straightforwardly honest with women when they're interested in short-term and or non-monogamous sex than when they're interested in long-term monogamous sex. I said, now you got some guys that are just scared to tell women their true desires, interests, and intentions, regardless of what relationship they're pursuing. But I said, for most men, I know a lot of men, they don't have no problem letting a woman know straightforwardly that they want a long-term, strictly monogamous boyfriend-girlfriend relationship that's going to potentially lead to marriage. I don't know that many guys, a high percentage of guys that are scared to let women know that. There's a few, but not as many compared to casual sex. I know a lot of men, though, that are scared to straight up tell a woman that they want short-term sex versus long-term sex, or that they want non-monogamous sex instead of monogamous sex. And I said that's why it seems like more the emphasis of Mo 1 is on short-term non-monogamous casual sex. But I said that's not what Mo 1 is about. I said if you actually read the book, you would know that and understand that. Right after I said that, her 2 cheerleaders left the room because they knew I had shredded her. They left the room. The 2 women she came for support, emotional support or whatever, they just left the room. They kind of had a look on their face like, damn, he done crushed you. And they just left the room. And then her final challenge to me, she said, well, what about you? Alan, I'll just focus on you then, since you say other men don't need to use X-rated language. She said, why would you? I've heard stories where you've gone up to women and said, all I want you to do is, I can't believe I'm saying this. This is her saying this. She said, I can't believe I'm saying this. She said, I heard you go up to women and the first thing out your mouth is, I can't wait for you to suck my dick. Or all I want you to do is put your wet, warm mouth on my dick. Alan, Mr. Currie, wouldn't you have to agree that that's totally insulting, offensive, disrespectful, and rude? I said, rude is subjective. And she said, is that so? I said, sure it is. I said, what we consider to be polite versus rude is all based on our social programming. I said, there's no objective definition of what's polite and what's rude. And I've given you guys examples of that. I give one example. For example, in a lot of Asian cultures, wearing shoes in a person's house is considered rude. That's considered rude in their culture. But here in America, that ain't considered rude. That's not objectively considered rude. It all depends on your culture, what I would call your social programming and or your cultural conditioning. Your social programming and or cultural conditioning. That's what determines what we consider to be well-mannered and polite versus rude or socially inappropriate. Is your social programming and your cultural conditioning. So anyway, that's what I told her. I said, it might be your opinion that's saying that is rude, but I said, I disagree with that's rude. I said, do you like liars? And of course she said no. I said, do you like men that are manipulative game players? And of course she said no. I said, I said, I'm going to use you as an example. Now, I understand you're married, so I don't want to be disrespectful to your husband, so I'm going to just use this as an example. Let's say you were single, and I approached you, and let's say I knew that all I wanted you to do was to suck my hard dick. And I actually said that to her. I said, I want you to suck, that's all I want you to do is to suck my hard dick. But let's say I said to myself, man, if I say it like that, she might consider me rude, disrespectful, insulting. So let's just say I meet you, Dr. Robinson, and we go out on 2 dates, 3 dates, 4 dates, and we have some great conversation, great laughs. And I even go as far as to say, Dr. Robinson, I think I might be falling in love with you. And she said something, oh, that would be corny. I said, let's just say for argument's sake, I said that. And you bought into that. And let's say we ended up making out, we ended up having sex, and I said, I just fucked your mouth like there was no tomorrow. I actually said that. I said, let's say I just fucked your mouth like there was no tomorrow. And I shot my cum all in your mouth. And then after that day that I did that, you didn't hear nothing from me. Wouldn't you be hurt? Wouldn't you be disappointed? She said, sure I would. She said, I would think any woman would. I said, now, why would I do that? Why would I take you out on all these nice dates, take you to dinner, but as soon as I fuck your mouth and come in your mouth, I really don't have anything to say to you anymore. Why would I do that? She said, well, it's obvious. That's all you wanted in the beginning. I said, bingo. That's all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was fuck your mouth and come in your mouth and then leave you alone. But instead of telling you that straightforwardly, because I was fearful that would be perceived as rude and disrespectful and insulting, I went through all these gyrations, all these charades, took you out on 3, 4, 5 dates, bought you flowers, bought you little cute Hallmark cards. But as soon as I fuck your mouth and came in it, I didn't want shit to do with you no more. Wouldn't you, all things considered, wouldn't you rather me just straightforwardly tell you from the time I meet you, Dr. Robinson, you know what? All I want to do is fuck your mouth so I can come in your mouth. So you can either say, yes, I'm down with that, or no, I'm not down with that. She said, yeah, I get your point. I still don't agree with the language, but I now get your point. I get what you're saying. So I said, get it, got it, good. So then Gerard, he was trying to hold himself. He wanted to just bust out laughing. So Gerard said something to the face, well, I guess that ends the debate and blah, blah, blah. So we started talking, and it was the weird thing. If my Blog Talk Radio listeners know this story. She was just standing there, right? And so that's where I really crushed her ego. I was ready to talk to Gerard, but she was just standing there. Like she wasn't asking a question, she wasn't making it. She was just standing there. And I said, oh, that was your cue. When I said, get it, got it good, Dr. Robinson, that was your cue. You're dismissed. You can go now. And she just walked out. Man, Gerard lost it. Lost it. He said, he gave me a bunch of hand slaps. He said, Alan Roger Currie, you that nigga, man. You that nigga. He said, you just broke down my motherfucking boss. You just broke down my motherfucking boss. He said, that puts you in the Hall of Fame, dude. He said, I ain't never seen her get shredded like that, dude. You are literally the first man I've ever seen shred her like that. That's what Alan Roger Currie do. I've had a few other, I ain't gonna go into all the other stories, but I've had a few people who were highly educated, people who had like master's degree in psychology, PhDs, thought they was gonna get the best of me in a debate, and I shredded into pieces because I know my shit. I don't have a PhD, but when it comes to my books, man, I know my shit. I know my shit. But anyway, that whole story was kind of a segue. My main point, what provoked me to tell that story was my main point. Number one, is not synonymous with MGTOW. So for those few people who have that in your mind, get that out. Mo 1 is not synonymous with being anti-marriage. It's not synonymous with being anti-monogamy. It's not synonymous with being anti-long-term relationships. It's not synonymous with being anti-children. None of that. Mo 1 is just simply about being bold, upfront, specific, and straightforwardly honest with women about why you really want to share their company. Period. End the story. Why you really want to share their company. Whether that's for long-term sex, short-term sex, monogamous sex, or non-monogamous sex, or any variation of those different types of sex. That's what Mode 1 is all about. It's about how you verbally communicate your desires, interests, and intentions to women as it relates to spending time with them, letting them know why you're really talking to them and why you really ultimately want to share their company. For some men, that might be for long-term sex. For some men, that might be short-term. For some men, that might be for strictly monogamous sex, like my brother. For some men, that might be non-monogamous sex. But it ain't nothing about Mode 1 synonymous with MGTOW, synonymous with anti-marriage, synonymous with anti-children, or synonymous with anti-romantic relationships. I don't know whoever fed you that, or if you came up with that assumption on your own, get rid of it. That's not what Mode 1 is about. Get it, got it good. Okay. For those guys who had that misinterpretation, you're dismissed. You're dismissed. To the rest of y'all, hey, I think I got a live stream coming up. Yeah, I know I do. I got a live stream on Thursday at 4 o'clock. I won't be doing videos every day this week because I'm going to be busy with some stuff, among other things, consultations and stuff. I'll probably come back with another video on either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. But I'm probably only going to do 2 videos this week. All right, peace.